Live Talk with Leader Brad.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Live Talk with Benita Bradley. I am your host, Benita Bradley, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. Instagram is already on with us, so good evening again, Instagram. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Facebook, for joining us. We are live streaming now from Facebook to YouTube, to Periscope, Twitter, and to Instagram. We got everybody in the house tonight. So tonight, listen, we have a very, very important subject I want to talk to everybody about. It's a little controversial, but I'm interested to hear you guys' perspective on this particular topic. I got some videos to show you guys. Of course, you know that, how I do. And again, if we have any guests that would like to come on, whether you're on any of our live streaming platforms on Facebook, on YouTube, or Periscope, Twitter, even some of you guys on Instagram, you want to join me live, I'll bring you on. Now, the other guys can't see you, but they will definitely be able to hear you and hear what you're saying and hear your pros and cons of the subject we're going to talk about tonight. So you're more than welcome to join me live on Instagram as well. All of you guys here are able to join me live. I'm live in the comments with everybody tonight. That's another good thing. I'm live in the comments with everybody on Facebook. We're streaming to 3 different Facebook platforms. I'm live in the comments with everybody on YouTube and Periscope, Twitter. I'm also live in the comments with everybody on Instagram. So let's have some fun and let's get into this subject tonight. I'm going to get right into it because I got a lot to cover. And I really want some of you guys to chime in and tell me what you think, what your thoughts are on this particular subject. What are we talking about this evening? We're talking about double standards in relationships. Yep, we're going to go there tonight. We're going to talk about double standards in relationships because it's just really a lot that's going on, and it has a lot to do with the topics we've been talking about calling women into order and all of these things. And so I took a break because we need to realize that men and women think differently. That's part of the larger reason why we are in such a tizzy that we're in relationships, because women and men think differently. And you guys know I'm dealing with my allergies, so bear with me. So because men and women think differently, we're always going to have 2 different sides of the same coin, and most often those sides will never ever be the same. It's unfortunately because we need each other. I'm not down with this, I don't need a man kind of group. That's not her. She does not believe. I don't subscribe to that notion. I don't believe in that. You'll never hear me say that because that is not my truth. That's not my testimony. That's not even my ministry to say that I don't need a man and for me to not have one. That's just not what I'm called to do. Perhaps maybe some of you are, and that's your business, but that's not my calling. So we do have that that I am woman, hear me roar kind of thing that's going on, and we got to deal with that. Hey, Pastor, Instagram, I'm doing well today, thank you. And so we have this issue now that came along. We talked about previously this feminist culture that came in. And remember, guys, we told you that originally when this feminist movement came in, it had nothing to do with Black women. But Black women have adopted this notion that they want to be equal to a man in every way. So much so to now we're hearing, well, I make my own money. I make my own decisions. I take care of my own self. I pay my own bills, basically what I need a man for. However, what we don't know is that particular movement in the beginning had nothing to do with Black women. It was not about our rights. It was not about our voices. And so then what had to happen later on, they had to come up with another movement called the Black feminist movement. We won't go over all of that, but If you go back and watch some of the previous shows, we've talked about all that, and we'll talk about it again. But for the sake of this show, I just want to give you a little bit of background, what led me to pause for the cause and go right here for now and talk about the double standards and the difference in how men and women process information, how we process things different, how we think totally different. And so this is a larger reason why we've come to the point where everybody's just out of order. Everything is out of order. Men want women to submit, and we're supposed to. Women want men to love them and be faithful, and you're supposed to. But until we can come to reconcile the fact that men and women just think differently, we're going to constantly be looking at each other kind of side-eyed, like, men ain't no good. And men going to be looking at women side-eyed like, oh, all y'all crazy. So it's going to constantly be this battle of infighting between the Black men and the Black women, because we have these double standards. And the number one reason we have these double standards, hear me out well, is because we don't understand that men and women think differently. Women, we want men to be emotional. We want them to be, just like we are. Let me just say this. I don't want a male version of myself. I don't want a male version of Benita. I don't want a Mr. Benita. That's not what I'm looking for. I don't want a male version, a masculine version of a feminine Benita. That's not what I'm looking for. Because if that's what I'm looking for, then I could just become masculine myself and stay with myself. So many times we want men to be like us and act like us and think like us. And when they don't, we bring out the claws. And that's when we say, oh, you just insensitive. Oh, you don't even know, you don't care. And, you just don't have no emotion. They have emotions. They are sensitive. However, they show them in different ways. They process, they think differently than we do. And then men, you can't expect us to think like you. You can't, we don't necessarily give straight answers. But you might say, well, what do you want to eat? We'll say, well, I don't know. What do you want? And right there, that might aggravate you because you asked us the question, then we answer the question with the question, And so, but we just don't think alike. We'll be thinking, oh, okay, well, I had fish the other day. I don't want fish today. I had pasta yesterday. I gotta watch my carbs. We go through all of that in our heads, and you just thinking, woman, just pick something to eat because I'm hungry, But we don't process things to the same way. And I get it. Some women get it and some don't, but it's par for the course in relationships. That's just something we have to understand. Let's see what our YouTubers are saying. Yes, it's double. Women will never submit as the majority. I don't know if I agree with that. But let me put this on the screen so y'all won't think I'm just making this stuff up. This is from our YouTube audience. That's Lee. Oh, Lee says women will never submit as the majority. I don't know if I agree with that, Lee. I think that women in general know how to submit. However, I do think that they look for the right man to submit to. And then too, you got to think about submission. What are we submitting to? Are we submitting to your ego? Are we submitting to your plan? Are we submitting to your vision? Are we submitting to your potential? What exactly are we submitting to? So it's a lot of misunderstanding going around when we start talking about submission. Let's see what else Lee says. Lee said, about 75% of Black women, of Black women act like men. I don't know that to be true. I have a lot of girlfriends, and I don't know any of them that act like men. All of my friends are very feminine. We all kind of have the same mindset about submission and wanting a man that will come in, take charge, be that man, be the head, be that leader, teacher, provider, protector, all of that, So I don't know about that 75% of Black women. We don't know those kind of women. Just let me tell you that, Lee. We don't know them. I'm not saying that they're not out there, because I know that there are some women that exude tremendous masculine energy. If that's what you mean, I think that's what you mean, that they just exude this masculine energy. You know, this, I don't need a man. I am woman. Hear me roar. I could do what a man can do. You know, I pay my own bills. I take care of my own self. I don't need a man. You know, I do understand. Now, I have seen some of them, you know, and I have heard some of them. I have talked to some of them, and they're very adamant. They're very strong-willed. They're very strong-minded. And listen, they could care less what a man think about them. They could care less about this submission thing. They could care. Listen, I even know some Christian women that could care less about this submission thing. They don't care nothing about this in no Bible. They don't care. They ain't submitting to nobody. Let them tell it. Somebody need to be submitting to them. So that could be the 75% of Black women you're talking about. But again, the 25% of us that are kind of naturally submissive, because we know, number one, and I know I might get some feedback from the women on this one, we know our place. Just let me say it like that. We know our place, and we're comfortable in our place. We're secure in knowing our place. We understand that our place, that doesn't make us a doormat. That doesn't make us, you know, less than. That does not make us weak. And, you know, and submission does not mean we don't have a voice. We understand all of those counterparts that make up what submission is, what a good woman looks like. We understand all of that. So we know our place, and we're okay with even saying that we know our place, you know. And so the feminists that might have a problem with me even saying, look, I know my place. That's why I can affirmatively say, I'm not looking for a Mr. Benita. I'm not looking for a male version of myself, you know, because I'm enough by myself. You know, I got enough feminine energy, honey, for 10 women. I'm not looking for just someone to come in and just say, okay, I want to match you. No, I don't need you to match me. I need you to be you. I need you to be the head. I need you to be the leader, the teacher, the provider, the protector. I need you to be all of that, so that I'm never out of place, because I already know my place. I need you to take your place. And so confident women, we don't necessarily have to go around talking about, oh, we don't need no men. We don't got to submit. We don't have to necessarily go around like that. We just do what we do. We show up, and our femininity exudes. It walks in before us. It announces our presence. We don't have to be heard. We just be seen. We're just seen. And that's enough for us. And so we're not loud and vociferous when it comes to what we want or what we need. You know, we just kind of fall in place, if you will. And I know women don't like to hear that, but, you know, sometimes you got to teach women how to fall in place, so that you don't keep running across these knuckleheads. You don't keep running across these knuckleheads that leave you saying there are no good Black men. There are no good men, period. You know, or Black men don't know how to treat women, and this, that, and the third. And you always come away with some negative connotation of what a good relationship looks like. Well, first of all, we have to look at, who are we dating? Who are we courting? Do we even understand the process of dating and courting? Do we even do that anymore? Or do we just meet somebody, sleep with them the same night, now we in a relationship? Come on, guys. Come on. That's not how this thing was ordained to go. And that's probably why it's so many people saying that, oh, okay, relationships don't work anymore. That's probably why there are no good marriages to look at and pattern yourselves after, if you will, because we're just not seeing it. Hey, Prophet Davis, how are you? Welcome to the show. Lee said most dominant women, he said most dominant women know the Bible very well. They absolutely do, but it doesn't mean that they're going to go by it. And a lot of them are Christian women. A lot of them are women in ministry, but it does not mean that they're going to go by it just because they know it, because a lot of times what's in that Bible totally contradicts what we think up here. If I'm thinking like this, so if I'm thinking like, I'm a woman, I'm 54. I just turned 54 this month, my birthday month. All right. I just turned 54. And so if I have come to the point in my life at 54 that I think well, since I'm single, I might as well stay single because I don't need a man. You know, I've made it this far without a man. I've been single for X amount of years. I'm not going to tell you how many. I've been single for X amount of years. And, you know, and I'm doing well. I'm okay. You know, so now I don't need a man. If that was my mindset, then how would I be a good person to promote relationships? This is what's happening. We've got away from dating, courting, and promoting good relationships because most of the time women are saying they don't want to be in a relationship. They don't want this. They don't want that. And this is where we're coming up short, ladies. A lot of us, because we are single, we're making sure everybody around us stays single because we're sharing our bad experiences with one another without giving a caveat to say that was my experience, but yours might be different. And so when we start talking about dating and courting and pursuing, a lot of us have gotten to the point you don't even recognize when a man pursuing you. Because so much in you now you got all these walls up. You're not even approachable. I did a show on being approachable, and then I have a follow-up show that I'm going to do on being approachable. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to be approachable, ladies, because a lot of times a bigger part of the problem is the reason why you're saying there are no good men, because good men are not approaching you. Because you got this wall built up, you got this leave me alone face on, you don't smile, you know, you're not kind, you don't speak back. A man say good morning, you just kind of, you know, you got this resting, you know what face on, you know, so it's almost like, what is he supposed to do? How are you going to get to the dating and the courting and the pursuing if he can't even get through all these walls that you have up? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about dating and pursuing. Let's get into that. Because a lot of times we've gotten away from that. Like I said, we make plans and then boom, everybody's sleeping with everybody the first time you meet somebody, the first week in the relationship, everybody already sleeping together. So what's the chase about? Where's the chase? Where's the pursuit going to go? Because the ultimate goal is to build a relationship. But if he's already got you in the bed, what more does he really have to look forward to? All right. So let's start getting to some of our videos. So let's start with talking about dating and courting. Let's go there. Let's start with dating and courting. Now let's go back up. Why are men and women different? Why are we different? Anybody on Instagram want to give a stab at that question? Anybody on Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope, Twitter want to give a stab at that question? Why are the rules different for men and women when it comes to relationship? Why are the rules different? Anybody know? Anybody want to give a stab at that? You guys know how hot it is under all these lights. Why are the rules so different? Are the rules different because men can just have the rules different? Or are the rules different for another reason? What do you guys think? Why are the rules for men and women so different? And here's another question to go with that. Who makes the rules? Who made the rules? Who made the rules? Why are the rules different? And who made the rules? That's what I want to know. And I'm sure some of our audience wants to know those answers as well. Who made the rules and why are they different? Why do men and women even think differently? We went over that a little bit earlier. Why do we think differently? Why don't we all think alike? Why aren't the rules the same across the board? You know, who wants to give a stab at that? Oh, that's good. So are you saying that's why the rules are different or that's why we think different? Okay, let's go back to YouTube. Lee says most women are raised without a man and a man do not want to date his daddy. Most women were raised without a man and a man do not want to date his daddy. Okay, Lee, you got to tell us what that means, because I'm sure my audience, along with me, we kind of don't understand what that is. A man don't want to date his daddy. I don't know what that means. Talk to us a little bit more. Instagram, what y'all think? Why are the rules different, and who made the rules? Why are the rules different between men and women? And who made these rules? Can you tell us a little bit more? Give us a little bit more insight on that last part. You said most women were raised without a man, and men do not want to date his daddy. Tell us a little bit more about that. No. Keep going. I just want you to explain what you meant. No, you're fine. I need you to explain what you meant. So, So why are we different? Who made the rules? Instagram, what y'all think? Why are men and women different? And who made the rules? Who said we should be different? We think differently about a lot of stuff. We do. We think differently about dating and courting, about who's supposed to pursue whom, and the process of all of this. We think totally different, and I want to know why. Let's look at the first thing we're going to look at while I wait on some of you to get your thoughts together on that one. Okay, let's see here. Oh, okay. Then that makes sense. Okay. All right, guys. Instagram, I'm going to read this to you guys because I know you can't see it. So I'm going to read it to y'all. He says, in the Black community, it's sad to say that a woman comes out the home like a dude. And I'm guessing he's saying that when there's no father in the home, the woman comes out kind of hard or more masculine. I guess that's what he's saying. I guess that's what he's saying. And a lot of times that's because she's missing that leadership or that component that a father would teach her how to relate to a man. I'm guessing that's what he's saying. And I hope I'm interpreting that rightly. But I think that's what you mean by that. And if not, you can correct me and I'll stand corrected. And so that has a lot of truth to it. Unfortunately, like I said, a lot of stuff that we talk about, especially things that we hear from women, we don't want to always agree with it. And I know because some of it kind of hits home a little bit, but listen, the truth of the matter is some of it is true. I'm not saying all of it is true, but some of it does hold some truth to it. Some of it has a lot of validity to it. And the problem is when they say these things, we'll get upset and we'll counteract with a low blow, like, well, if men did this, then women wouldn't do that. And so now we got this, we all tangled up and we're wrestling back and forth. And guess what happens? Nothing gets resolved. We still walk away, women not understanding men and men not understanding women. So then we still have that great divide between women and men in our communities. And guess what? We can never come together. We'll never come together and build successful relationships if we keep pointing the fingers at one another. Men want women to chase them. Women want men to chase them. It's all topsy-turvy, and we don't even understand the concept anymore of dating and courting and pursuing. We don't even have the concept of that anymore. He says, when a woman does not talk or speak about, okay, I got you. Right. When a woman, okay, Instagram, here's what he's saying. And those of you that can't see the screen, but you can hear the show, he says that when a woman does not talk or speak about their dad, it's a red flag. And that is true. Most of the times when women are really hard on men, they have dad issues. And you guys know I'm fair. And when men have deep issues with women, they have mommy issues. So it goes both ways. And I try to be fair, but I do want to point out the fact that a lot of us as women, we can lead in a way that does not interfere with the man's headship. All right, let me say that again. We can lead in a way that does not interfere with the man's headship. Well, what do you mean by that? We can lead the atmosphere. We can lead the energy. We can lead a conversation that does not interfere with his leadership. The Bible says that a soft answer will turn away wrath. So if he's already upset, something's going on during the day, whatever, something at work happened, and you can sense, kind of discern or whatever, that intuition kicks in, and you can see he's had a bad day or whatever the case may be. And then he comes in, and the first thing you do, instead of asking, well, how was your day? And then let him answer, okay, I'm going to say that again. When you ask him, how was your day? Then you let him answer in his own way, without interrupting, without you trying to give him pointers on what to say and how to answer a question about how his day was. Then you can kind of guide the energy in the room. You can guide that conversation so that he's not even more upset. He's not even more agitated. He's not more frustrated. But if he starts to tell you and you well, let me tell, I know that, okay, but let me tell you what happened to me. Right there, you have misguided the energy. You've misguided the conversation. That's what I mean when I say we can lead without disturbing his headship, without disturbing his authority. You can lead that conversation into peace. You can lead that atmosphere into peace. You can lead the energy in the room into a peaceful situation. So whereas he had to fight on the outside, he does not have to fight when he comes home. That's what I mean by we can lead. We as women, we can lead without interrupting a man's headship and his authority and his leadership. Y'all understand what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense to everybody. And so, but before we can even get to that, we got to learn how to date. We got to learn how to court. We got to learn how to pursue. A man can't even pursue half these women anymore because, they got this term. I don't know if they use this term anymore, but women are so thirsty. You'll hound the man down, like, give the man a chance, and then you wonder why the man comes in and he treats you a certain way. This is my take. Y'all know I'm old fashioned. Okay. Somebody told me one time, I had a guy tell me one time, well, that's why you single, because you old fashioned, and you won't ask a man out first, and you won't do this, and you got this, this no sex policy, and you this and you that. And I was like, child, that don't even bother me. Y'all know how I do it. If I had 99 problems, getting a man won't be one. So listen, that stuff don't bother me. If you got old-fashioned standards, men, women, stick to your guns. Don't let nobody just come in and throw you off your your game because of something they want you to get into. All right. So listen, we don't even give men a chance to approach us because some of us, some of these women these days are so thirsty. It's like, girl, wait, just give a man a chance, because I think he'll appreciate you more if the pursuing is there. If men are hunters by nature. Talk to the men. You won't know until you start talking to men what men think, how men really feel. And I know there may be some men who think it's okay and they might like a woman to pursue them and all of that. That's not the kind of man I would be interested in, because I think that's a little bit out of order. That's just my thinking. May work for you, but it doesn't work for me. And so let's look at what dating and courting looks like. All right. And let's look at what pursuing looks like. We've gotten away from like stuff like that. So let me just tell you, I got a couple of definitions I want to read to you real quick. And then I got some videos I want to get into with you. Okay. All right. You guys are doing so good. Instagram, you're doing really good. YouTube, Facebook, you guys are doing good. Keep your comments coming. All right. So men and women think differently. All right. So now we're going to go into dating and courting and pursuing. All right. So here's what dating is. Dating is a stage of romantic relationships practiced in Western societies whereby two people meet socially, listen to this, with the aim of each assessing the other's suitability as a prospective partner in a future intimate relationship. Okay, do you want me to read that again? This is dating. Dating, hey, little mama, that must be my son. That's my son. He's the only one called me little mama. Hey, son. So dating, again, is a stage of romantic relationships practiced in Western societies whereby two people meet socially with the aim of each assessing the other's suitability as a prospective partner in a future intimate relationship. That's dating, okay? That's what dating is. All right, so now let's look at courting. I don't know if people even say courting anymore, do they? I don't know. I do. So courting is different from dating. Courting now moves the relationship further, okay? So courting means to be involved romantically. Watch this part, typically with the intention of marriage. All right? With the intention of marriage. Courting also means to pay special attention to someone in an attempt to win their favor. All right, so why is it we don't hear about courting anymore? We just hear about dating. Boom, we dating. Boom, we sleep together. Boom, now we're supposed to be together. And 9 times out of 10, when it flows that way, it normally does not end up in marriage. That's unfortunate, but it does not. And I've seen it happen too many times. I've talked to too many people that, are hurt now because you slept with somebody that you thought, because you slept with this person, that was an automatic, let's walk down the aisle. No, that's not an automatic, let's walk down the aisle. That was just an automatic, let's go to the bed or wherever you did it at, just because you choose to sleep with someone doesn't mean that they're necessarily interested in you for a long-term relationship, or that they're dating you in order to move to courting, and courting you in order to move to the marriage, And before we get to all of that, we got to talk about pursuing. Are men still pursuing women? What's going on? How come there are so many unmarried Black women? Are Black men not pursuing Black women anymore? Or are they pursuing Black women, but Black women are resisting them? Like, what's going on? What's really going on here? Because we have to understand, if we're going to understand what's the problem, these double standards, these men and women think differently, there has to be like this step-by-step process that we unpack all of this and we understand where we both are coming from, whether it's men or women. We got to understand where we're coming from. And if we can't get past the dating and the courting and who's supposed to pursue whom and, who's supposed to approach whom. And I know that's kind of old fashioned, and everybody say, well, times have changed and it's 2021 and, women are more, outspoken and women are more forward and, men expect for women to approach them now. Y'all can have all that. You can just have it all. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hi, my name is Benita. What's your name? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I'm not going to pursue a man. That's just not something I'm going to do because my thinking does not lead me that way. Now, that's another way men and women think differently. Let's take a look at a clip I have for you. They're talking about why men aren't pursuing women anymore. And a lot of this has to do with the thinking. And it's like, when did our thinking, I know men and women have always thought differently, but like, when did it get to the point to where we were oceans apart in how we think? Like totally oceans apart in how we think about dating, courting, pursuing, all of that. When did we like get so different? Let me play this clip for you. Let's see. This is like a radio clip, so I just need you guys to listen in Instagram. Let me know if you guys can hear this clip. All right, you guys ready?
What you said?
What's happening today, Sissy Brown?
Why don't men pursue women the way they used to back in the day when they wanted to get with them? I swear it's like pulling teeth. If someone likes you, you don't even know it because they don't act like it. I mean, men don't even open doors for women anymore, even out of just being nice. Am I too old-fashioned to think that a man can meet you, ask for your number, ask you out, take you out, pay, and continue to pursue? Why do men want us to now ask them out, pay, pursue, and such? Is it a self-esteem thing with these men? I don't get it. What's up with that, fellas? Those are facts, too. I see it all day.
Something like facts.
Oh, it's some facts.
Because when I opened the door this weekend, I didn't get nothing response. But I don't do it for that anymore. I do it because it's the right thing to do.
Exactly.
Now, but you should say thank you.
Absolutely.
For
But
women.
how you trying to throw it back on the women?
For women
do it, too.
No, it's not even women do it, too. I'm saying it's not all facts.
Okay. No.
Not all facts. You know what I'm saying? Men do.
Absolutely
Men
not.
hold doors. Men do these things. Some. That's what I'm saying. So it's not all facts, like I said.
But this is, for her situation, it's facts.
All right. So here's the situation. Fellas, they're going to be like, that's why we don't do it, because look at Sissy arguing right now.
Oh, please. That's why you should do it, so I won't argue. How about that?
Hit us up. 737-9292. The situation is this. Why are men not pursuing? All right, from her perspective, may not be your situation, but from the person that sent this, and we don't do names when you hit us up. We'll never do your name. We'll never put you on blast like that unless you say, "Hey, say my name." You probably still won't.
Is it old-fashioned though?
Is it old-fashioned?
A lot of people tell me that I'm old-fashioned because I say court and I want a man to court me. Okay, however you want to say the terminology, but. Is it wrong for you to want a man to pursue you to get to know you? Okay. And not have them go, oh, you pay next time. How about that? Boy, bye.
So,
who does that?
Hit us up. 737-9292. 737-9292. Fellas, are you still courting?
Tell the truth, y'all. Don't come on here for the gram.
That's what my granny used to say. Y'all in church courting.
In church?
In church.
Granny?
Yeah, granny used to play that. But, yeah. Are you still courting, fellas? Are you still pursuing? Are you opening doors? Are you doing the chivalrous things?
And if not, why?
And if you are and it's not working, say that too. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear all of it. 737-9292. We want to know what you think.
Let us know what you think. Keep calling. Hit us up now. 615-737-9292. You're listening to the all-new Kenny Smooth Morning Show on 92Q.
Hey, my response is the woman that wrote that letter, she's not crazy at all. She's very on point.
Oh.
Look here. Look, she's very on point. The reason why I think she's very on point, the culture today does not allow these young men to do what they're supposed to do. I've seen guys go to the gas station, let the girl get out the car, pay for it, and come back and pump it. It's ridiculous and it's shame. Pull your pants up, dude. Be a man.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro. 92Q, what's up? What's your response?
We do hold doors, like you said. It ain't everybody. But I think women stop appreciating. We need the appreciation to continue to keep going. You hold the door for a young lady, she just walk right in like she entitled. No thank you, no nothing. I had to be like, you welcome, you know what I'm saying? And another thing, too, this thirsty word. Oh, my God, I hate that word. A young man show interest in a woman, and he's determined to be thirsty nowadays. You know what I'm saying? So I think some of those things start deterring why men stop, holding doors, paying for meals, because women don't appreciate it, and then they deem you thirsty when you show too much interest or show a little interest.
So the only way that a woman appreciates it to you is by saying thank you. Is that what you're saying?
One way. No, I'm saying that's one way to appreciate, by verbalizing it. Absolutely. That's all we have to go by is our communication. If we don't verbalize it, we don't know what you're thinking.
All right, Kenny, man. Good morning, first off, man. And I honestly would have to say, man, I'm going to blame it on social media, man, because a lot of guys don't know how to talk to women anymore, period, because they're so used to talking to them on Instagram, Facebook, and then when you actually do meet someone face-to-face, man, they don't know how to go up and approach an actual
don't have any
real
social
woman.
skills. Social media is diminishing our social skills.
That's crazy.
True. Wow.
Yeah, they don't have, ain't no substance to the conversation, man, when they walk up to these women, man.
I think for now, there are some guys that are still kind and mannerable, but a lot of women, and I've seen it myself, a lot of women are, like if a guy opens a door for a woman, she'll look at him up and down as if he's trying to talk to her. There's a negativity that we sometimes give to these guys when they are trying to be nice. You know, like a guy was like, hey, by the way, you dropped something. A woman turned around, you know, irritated by the fact that he called her attention that she dropped something. And also, I heard a comment before, the word thirsty. Now we have social media. Unfortunately, that's a lot of ways that people start dating. People find their spouses, and that slided in my DM, and these dudes is thirsty. Well, how else do you expect a guy to get your attention? Now, if he's being disrespectful and coming at you wrong, I understand that. But if he's just saying, hey, little mama, just how are you doing today? And all of a sudden a comment is made on Facebook, ooh, they all on my DMs today. That's so, it's petty and it's immature. And I'm not saying that it's all women's fault, but this whole, I don't need a man, I make my own money. Yeah, you make your own money, but God made man and woman for a reason, because regardless, the man is supposed to be the provider.
Right on, girl.
Certain things for a woman, not necessarily just money. I might make my own money, but I might want you to fold clothes for me every once in a while. That's nice. That's like showing your appreciation, but it's not thirsty.
Thank you, girl.
Okay.
92Q, what's up? What's your response?
Hey, this is Darnell calling from Nashville.
What's up?
I think it's a matter of a man being a man, period. Yeah, I open doors. I feel support. And sometimes women, I feel like women do get to the point where they just, that they're unappreciative. It's not a matter, to me, it's not a matter of a woman even saying thank you, because as a man, they just certain things that you're supposed to do hands down. Whether she appreciates it or not, the fact that you did it says enough about you as a man.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
We get so caught up in our egos that we expect a woman to respond a certain way. You are a man. You got created to be the head. If she never says thank you, do what you're supposed to do.
Boom.
Hey, I want to make a comment.
Please do.
Okay, what it is, I've seen it. I have a son, 41, and I have a son, 23. They both open doors to women. I told both my guys, look, if you can't afford to take a woman out, don't ask her to go out. And nowadays, some women have gotten to the point to where I've seen it. They meet a guy, they sleep with him the same night. Men don't have to pursue. Some women make it to the point to where they don't have to pursue a woman. Women just spread their legs, here you go. It's like hunting. What's the thrill of going hunting? The deer shoots itself, ties itself to the hood of your car. And if there's no more pursuing, women don't allow that no more. Right. We done got to the point to where it's an instant generation now.
That's a good one. Instant.
I was just listening to some of the comments, and I was raised by, by my mother, and she raised.
All right, so the last comment was funny. When she said, what's the use of hunting if the deer gonna shoot itself and then tie itself to the top of the car? I mean, it's true. But I wanted to know if you guys have noticed the difference in pursuing and dating and courting within these. Well, some of you are married that are watching. Of course, you wouldn't know the difference. Hopefully you won't. But those that are single, and those that may have single friends, that you talk to about relationships, or that talk to you about relationships, I'm wondering if you've seen sort of this shift in, what's expected. Are men expecting women to pursue them, and are women making it too easy to how can I say this tactfully? Are women making it too easy for men not to have to pursue them for a relationship because they're giving up sex too easily? Like the lady said, the older woman who said she had a son 40 and something else years old. Why would the men have to go out hunting if the deer shoots itself, puts itself on top of the car? I thought that was hilarious. But I mean, we understand what she's saying, so I think we have to realize that women, let me talk to you. When you put yourself in that situation, it's not really fair for you to walk away if he doesn't call you back, if he tells you, well, he wasn't really looking for a relationship with you. Now you going around saying, men ain't ish, men ain't nothing, all they want is sex. But you know what? Unless he did something illegal and nefarious to you, you had to agree to it. You had to either let him in your home or go where he was, enter into his space. You had to participate in the sexual activity. You had to take your clothes off. You had to be the one to give consent. So why is it that women will walk away from a one-night stand, or as soon as you start dating somebody, you sleep with that person immediately? You've not even known this person 30 days of your life, and you're already sleeping with this person. And then when he says, well, I really wasn't looking for no relationship, whatever, then you're heartbroken, you're bitter, you're angry with all men. And now you got this bullhorn, and everything you say is about how no good men are. But you very seldom hear a woman take responsibility and accountability and say, you know what, that was something I should not have done. I didn't know enough about him. I didn't know him long enough. We had not even discussed the possibilities of a long-term relationship. We had not discussed marriage. We didn't discuss any of that. All we discussed was the possibility of dating. And if you're thinking, ladies, please hear me well and hear my heart. If you're thinking giving a man sex is going to obligate him to date you, to court you, to pursue you, or to marry you, honey, think again. Think again. Because men and women, again, think differently even about sex. There are double standards even about that. A man will sleep with you and don't think nothing of it. You'll sleep with him and think that means y'all in a relationship. Quiet in this house, but that's what it is. And then we walk away as women, and I say we as women, we walk away as women thinking that we've been done a disservice, or that we've been done wrong, or that we've been hurt so badly, we've been scarred, we've been tricked and all of these things. But the first thing we failed to do is have a serious communication. We failed to have a conversation about, hey, where is this going? What are you looking for? Do you see me as a potential wife? Can I see you as a potential husband? And not just for the sake of you just gonna say that to get in the bed, because at some point, ladies, you got to have a little common sense. You got to have some discernment, and men, you got to have some common sense and some discernment too, because some women that'll trick some of these men into bed and don't want nothing but a good time from a man, because she was lonely and she wanted to get her some, and she has no intention of being with you, gentlemen. Hear me and hear me well. Women play the game just as well as men. In fact, we can play it better because we know how to manipulate our emotions. Oops, I just told a secret. We know how to manipulate our emotions. See, men, you all can detach your emotions from sexual activities. We can manipulate our emotions when it comes to sexual activities. That's something women won't tell you, but I just gave you that one for free. All right. So listen, we have to know that if we're going to try to build these bridges back between men and women and our communities, these are the kind of conversations we have to have. They might not be popular. They might not be, ooh, that's a good topic. It might not be none of that. But we got to have the hard conversations. We got to understand men and women process things differently. We got to understand it's a reason why it seems to be a double standard. Is there a real double standard, or does it seem to be a double standard? Is it seem to be a double standard because we think differently, or are there actual double standards, period? So this is what we have to look at. We have to look at the fact that it may be double standards simply because men and women think differently. And that's just what it is. And so far, no one has been able to tell me why is a double standard and who made the standards. All right. Hold on 1 second. Let me send this message. Oh. Okay. So The next thing we're going to talk about is forgiveness. Now, this is a true double standard. Who forgives quicker? Who forgives quicker? Do men forgive women quicker? Or are women expected to forgive men quicker? A lot of times when we look at dating and courting and even in marriage, you know, we have the issue of cheating or infidelity or what have you. And oftentimes, you know, and I've talked to a lot of people, men automatically want women to forgive them. They think, okay, I'm sorry. You buy her a rose, some roses. You buy her a new car. You buy her a new bag, or you take her on a trip, or you shower her with expensive gifts, or what have you. And you think that settles the issue, you know. But if a woman cheats on a man, she can turn cartwheels in the middle of the highway and he still won't forgive her. You know, I was had a conversation with a gentleman and we were talking about this very subject. So I asked him, I said, well, so if you cheat on your wife, if you were married and you cheat on your wife, would you expect for your wife to forgive you? He said, oh, yes, most definitely. I said, would you think your wife would leave you? Oh, no, I would hope she wouldn't. Nope. She won't go nowhere. I said, okay. So, well, let me ask you this. If she cheats on you, would you be so quick to forgive her? Would you give her the same forgiveness in the same amount of time that you want her to forgive you? He says, oh, no, that would be over. That would be over. I said, but what if she had a reason? Because when men cheat, they have a reason. But if a woman cheats, it don't matter if she have a reason or not. They're not going to hear it. And so I said, well, that's a double standard. He was like, well, it might be a double standard, but it just is what it is. And he was just like going on and on. So I was like, well, why is that when a man cheats, he expects a woman to forgive him? It's like he's entitled to be forgiven. But when a woman cheats, there is no way a man is going to forgive her. He definitely not going to just let it go, you know. And my friend said something to me. He said it might be a double standard, but that's just the way things are. And I was like, okay, then, you know. So I asked him this question. So, you know, I always have to play, you know, devil's advocate sometimes. I said, so if you and I were married and I cheated on you, would you forgive me? So he says, well, I don't know. Took him a minute to answer. I don't know. I said, so, but if you cheated on me, would you want me to forgive you? Oh, yes. He answered right away. No thinking, no rolling it over in his mind, you know, without a conscious effort. He answered immediately. But when I asked him if I was the one that cheated, he had to think about it. He didn't know, you know. So we have that double standard when it comes to fidelity in relationships, whether relationships, marriage, or what have you. Men will expect, they feel entitled to forgiveness, but women almost never get forgiveness. You know, men will hold on to that. And every time there's an argument, he's going to bring it up because it's stuck in his mind and it's stuck in his heart. However, if he's the one that's been unfaithful and the woman brings it up, then he feels some kind of way. Well, how long are you going to bring that up? You know, why you got to keep bringing that up? I thought you said you forgave me. We dealt with that already. But when the shoe was on the other foot, this again is where we come into those double standards. Why? Because men and women think differently. Men think that they are automatically entitled to do what they want to do and there be no consequences. But if a woman does the same thing a man does as far as infidelity and cheating, child, you're never going to hear the end of it. And what the guy explained to me, he said it has more to do with their egos than anything else. And okay, let's just say that's the case. Let's just say it is a case of ego. But even with that, like, we still have to have some kind of, reasoning and coming together at some point, because you just can't go do your own thing and expect for me to just stick and stay when, if I go and it looks like I'm doing something, you ready to go or put me out. Again, we're talking about double standards in relationships, and men are not so quick to forgive women the way women will forgive a man when it comes to issues in relationships. All right. I got a video from this is a good one. You're gonna like this video. He's talking about men and forgiveness. All right, let's get right into it.
Hey, section 3, part 3, the fear of forgiveness. Who is it in your life that you have not forgiven? Who have you not forgiven? In a relationship, your woman may lie to you, may have cheated on you, may have done some things that were sketchy, and you're still holding on to it. Your father, your mother, your sister, your best friend, your ex-friend, your ex-wife. We have a fear of forgiveness because we feel like if we forgive, it will make us vulnerable and it will make us weak. We think that by holding on to unforgiveness, it makes us strong and it gives us power. And so what happens is it puts a chip on our shoulder, and we operate using that chip on our shoulder. But with that burden becomes very heavy. So imagine like I'm holding this bottle of water, it's empty. So it's very light. But if I just continue to hold it here, and I'm holding this, the longer I hold it, no matter how light it is, eventually my arm is going to get very, very tired. So just think about, it's chills running through my arm right now, holding this light bottle of water. My brain processing holding this an hour from now. And, pick up your pen and hold it right here. Pick up your computer and hold it right here. And just hold it. And then hold it for 5 minutes. Hold it for 10 minutes. Hold it for 30. Hold it for an hour. You will get the physical. You will get an example of the physical weariness, the physical exhaustion, the physical pain that your heart and your mind is enduring while you're holding unforgiveness. While you won't forgive someone. Right now, my shoulder's starting to burn just by holding this position in this empty water bottle. So I say that to say, when you are holding on to unforgiveness, it's burning your heart. It's burning a hole in your brain. So go all the way back. Go all the way back to birth and walk all the way up till today and feel the pain. Feel every abandonment. Feel every lie. Feel every form of abuse. Feel every time you were lied about, every time you were talked about, every time you were mistreated, every time you were looked down upon, and identify the people that gave you that feeling, and then release them. Release them. Forgive them. Say to yourself, I forgive you. I forgive you because I will no longer give you the power over my life. I forgive you because I will no longer block my blessings, hate the world, hate people who look like you, hate people who remind me of you, when those people could be coming into my life to do me no harm and to help me. I push them away and I block my blessings and I block my opportunity because I speak doubt and I speak hate and I speak fear, and I speak unforgiveness. You know, it's people in my life who I've allowed in my life, and I've allowed myself to trust them. I've allowed myself to forgive them because then they've done nothing to me. But I've forgiven the people who look like them, who have hurt me, who've discriminated against me. And by not holding on to that, is people who have come into my life who look like people from the past, and they've been a blessing to my life, changed my life. But if you're holding on, and this is what I mean, and think about this in any aspect, think about this in any area of life, think about it, because it could be a woman that you saw do something very foul. So now the woman you have or the woman you meet, you automatically say, y'all are foul. And by doing that, you don't drop your guard, you don't open your heart, you don't open your mind. And this woman could be a woman that takes you from 0 to 100. This woman could be a woman who is about to bless your life like you never imagined. But just because of the past experiences, you put her in a box. The same thing with a business, somebody in business who may be an opposite race, the opposite race of you, who may be the opposite sex of you.
All right. So I wanted you guys to hear that from a man's perspective about when you don't forgive. You know, again, men and women, you know, we process differently. And a lot of times, you know, we want what we don't give. We want forgiveness, but we won't give forgiveness. And men, I really, really want to hone in on you guys, because a lot of men are still angry at the last woman that hurt them or cheated on them or talked about them or degraded them or kept them from their kids or what have you. You know, and I'm going to say this. Women, we have so much power. We have so much power. We can completely alter a man's life. We can. We can alter his life for the better, or we can alter it for the worst. Hear me and hear me well. How you treat that man will depend on, and if it doesn't work out, you got to think about the next woman he's going to encounter. Even if you're a mother and you're raising sons, you got to think about how you raise them sons, because some woman is going to run into your son. And if you've raised your son to be disrespectful, and if you've raised your son to be as your stand-in husband, a woman's going to catch hell trying to date your son, because she's going to always be in competition with you for that position in your son's life. So don't raise your son as your stand-in husband. Don't raise your son as your man. Raise your son as your son that you are going to one day hopefully give off to a good woman that she can be his wife, not you. I did have to say that, because I know a lot of Black women, we're guilty of raising sons to be stand-in husbands. Oh, you the man of the house now. You know, and to me, that's something that should never be. Your child should never be put in a position to where he's the man of the house, period. I don't care how old he is. So then when another man comes in, it's going to be the automatic fight for a man to come into your life, because you've already told your son that he's the man of the house. And so whatever that man does is never going to be good enough, because you're going to always be looking at your son for answers when you ought to be looking at that man to be the head. So what's going to happen? That's not going to work out. So now that man's going to walk away, and he's going to have a different opinion about dating women with children because of what you put out there. And again, we don't take responsibility and accountability for how we send a man off to the next woman if it don't work out for us. What we do as women sometimes, when we see it's not working or when we see things start to fall apart, we get real ugly and make sure that man is so wounded and so messed up, he's no good for the next woman. And I've seen some of y'all do that. I've talked to men that's been through that. You know, and we have to be accountable for the things that we do when we push men out there, knowing they're going to run into another woman, but you sitting him out there so scarred and battered and beaten till he don't trust anybody now. He don't trust black women. He don't trust black women with children. He just don't trust women anymore. And then you say, well, that ain't my fault. You know, he got this issue. But where did he get those issues from? Yeah, and I know there are some exceptions to these rules. Don't get me wrong. I get that. But don't negate what I'm saying, ladies. Don't just ball it up and throw it in the trash because you don't want to take responsibility or hear out what I'm saying. A lot of times men are unforgiven because we don't accept our part in it. We won't say I'm sorry. We won't say I'm sorry. And we already know they got an ego. So if you know a man has his ego to deal with, what's wrong with stroking his ego a little bit? What's wrong with making him feel assured? You know, if something does happen, if you do mess up, what's wrong with making him feel secure again? There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you the lesser vessel or anything like that. If you know he got an ego, then sometimes you got to stroke his ego. That's another subject. Y'all don't want to talk about that. Because y'all going to say, well, what about our egos? Women got egos too. Women, we need our egos stroked too. Girl, bye. We'll talk about that another day. Okay. So next thing we want to talk about, let's talk about when the double standard in having multiple partners. I'm trying to hurry up and move along. Let's talk about having double standards when it comes to having multiple partners. What do you mean by having multiple partners? So when a man have a lot of sexual partners, you know, he's the man, you know. Oh man, you out there. You was, you know, I don't want to use that word because a friend of mine, that's his real name. Y'all know I was gonna say you Don Suave or whatever them people name is, you know. But if a woman has a lot of sexual partners, she's looked at as, you know, someone of ill repute. You know, she's looked at as a whore or something like that. She's looked at as someone not, you know, not dateable, not wife material. But a man can have a lot of notches in his belt and he's the man, you know. So again, we have a double standard when it comes to women and men and sexual partners. Personally, this is me. Personally, I think it's offensive to ask a man or a woman how many sexual partners you've had, unless we are at that point. We've gone through the dating process, we're at the courting process, and we're talking about marriage. You know, because first of all, if you're just not starting to date somebody, yeah, sex should be in the conversation, but this is just me. We're not going to be at the point where we're actually talking about having sex at that point, you know, because everybody just don't give sex away like that, you know, not everybody is just out there like that all willy-nilly. So if a guy says, well, how many sexual partners have you had? And a woman goes, let me see. Immediately the guy's going to be like, oh, you know, he's going to have some kind of reaction to that. But if a woman asks a man, well, how many sexual partners you've had? He'll be like, oh, you know, back in the day when I was young, I did my thing, you know, and that's supposed to be okay with us. But if we give some off-colored answer like that, you know, you got these red flags just popping. But if you give us an answer, we're supposed to accept that. Again, men and women think differently. We have that double standard about the sexual partners. You know, to me, this just me. To me, unless we're talking about marriage, I don't think that conversation really should come up. Unless we're talking about marriage and we're actually talking about a real prospect of actually having sex or sleeping together. Because, and this is what men must know. A woman can tell immediately if she has any intention of sleeping with you, period. She can tell straight up front. As soon as she see you, as soon as she meets you, she has an idea whether or not she wants to sleep with you, whether or not she wants to have sex with you. That's just true. That's true. That's true. That's true. A man, and I know you men say, well, you're visual, you'll know right away whether or not you want to have sex with a woman. But women, we process things differently. You know, yeah, you can be physically attractive to us, and we can be physically attracted to you, but something on the inside of us say, oh no, I'll never sleep with him. I like him, but nah, that ain't gonna never happen. And then there are some men that we can meet and we'll be like, he can get it. So women know immediately when they first meet you in person, they already know whether or not they will sleep with you. They already know whether or not they're gonna have sex with you. Okay, so I don't care what you do, you can try all you want. When a woman has made up in her mind, this is not somebody I'm ever gonna sleep with. This is somebody that I would eventually like to have sex with. That's just what it is. You know, right or wrong doesn't come into play. I'm just sharing with you how men and women process things differently. Okay. So I don't want you guys to write me or say, well, she's promoting sex without marriage. That's not even on the table. We're just talking about how men and women process information and how we think differently. We're talking about the double standards in relationship. Okay. And so most of the time, women don't really ask that question because we don't want to know the answer. And then if a man asks that question, do you all think he really wants to know the answer? Like, if I really answer you, whether it be 4, 14, 24, 34, or 44, do you even really want to know that answer? You know, I met a guy one time, and this guy told me he had slept with about 900 women. At that time, he was 44. He was 44. And he said he was interested in dating me or what have you. And just out of nowhere, he kind of offered up that information. And I was taken aback by it because that's not something I asked him. But he said to me, you know, I've slept with about 900 women in my lifetime. I'm 44. And he says, but I've changed my ways. And he said, I'm a Christian now. And now I'm looking for a wife and this, that, and the third. And he says, what do you think of me? He asked me a question. What do you think of me after I shared that with you? So here's what I asked him. I said, I don't know what to think of you. I don't really think of anything. I thank you for being honest with me. Number one, I said, that's not something I asked you about, but you volunteered that information. And I said, so I don't know what to think. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. I said, but let me ask you a question. I said, let's reverse the roles. Let's say I told you I slept with 900 men, but now the Lord changed my life and I want a husband. I said, would you even give me the time of day? You know what he said? Nope. He said, nope. My son said, nah, la mama, he's still for the streets. Yeah, he's still for the streets. 900 women, you only 44 years old. Ooh, you know, like, so, and he really wanted to know what I thought and would I give him a chance. You know, he said he was looking for a good Christian woman and, you know, but when I asked him the same question in reverse, he said he would have a different opinion of me. You know, he said I would not be a woman he would take serious about marrying. Why not? Because I told you I slept with 900 men, but when he shared with me he slept with 900 women, he wanted me to give him a chance. See, that's that double standard right there I'm talking about. And it's so ridiculous that to me, that was so ridiculous I was like, he can't be serious. But he really was. Because I said, are you serious? Like, you know, you slept with that many women? He said, yeah. He said, that I can remember. He said, because it was a point in my life. He said, I was just out there wilding, you know. He said that I can remember. So now he wants to settle down. Back then, we were about the same age. I'm 54 now. So he said he wanted to settle down and find a good Christian woman. We met at the grocery store. That's where he saw me. And but that's not something I could do. Not because I was judging him or anything, but I think the fact that his answer, you know, that double standard to me was a bit much. You know, you want someone to accept you with 900 bodies under you, but you would not accept a woman with the same amount of bodies under her. No. You know, and besides, let's see what Tamika said. Tamika said, that's that old new dumb. I'm trying to tell you, Tamika. Absolutely, that's the old new dumb. And because I was really thrown off at the fact that he even offered that kind of information, because again, we had just met. And that was probably our second conversation. Yeah, that was probably our second conversation. And this is what he brought up. And he was like, well, I want to be honest with you. And I told him I appreciate his honesty. Thank him for being, you know, forthcoming and what have you. But it's a no for me. And ladies, you have every right to say no. And I know sometimes men say, well, that's why men don't like to be honest with y'all, because y'all judge. You can say whatever you want to say in this case. You can call it judging. You can call it smudging. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But I can promise you, whenever the shoe is on the other foot, you all will have a different mindset altogether. There is no way in heaven or hell you men would seriously date a woman and court her unto marriage. She just comes straight out and tell you she was with 900 men that she can remember. No. You can't make me believe that. No. And see, this is a double standard that we're talking about today. You know, this is exactly what we're talking about. How many men have you slept with? You know, that's not your business. As long as I can produce you with some paperwork that says I'm clean, that's all you need to worry about. And trust me, if we get to the point that we're talking marriage and sex and all of that, we both, everybody talking about what you bring to the table. Bring me your doctor's paperwork to the table. That's what you bring to me. All that other stuff, I don't really care about that. Bring me something from your doctor that shows me you clean. And then we'll talk about going to the next step. We'll talk about getting married. We can talk about anything you want to talk about. But until I see some paperwork, we ain't talking about nothing. Don't ask me to kiss me. No, nothing. Because there's too much going on out there. And people will lie and manipulate and say this and say that. They'll say, oh, I'm looking for a wife. Women say, oh, I'm looking for a husband. What you're really looking for is a sleep buddy, you know, a cut buddy, or you know, somebody that you can just hit it, quit it, and forget it every now and then. You know, and y'all call each other up when y'all get that itch and need to be scratched and all of that. You know, again, I'm 54 years old. That ain't what I'm looking for. You know, I said it once and I'll say it again. I'm not looking for a male version of myself, and I'm not looking for a back scratcher. You know, just somebody come take care of itch every now and then. Child, please. You don't have to put yourself out there for that. You know, you can wait. You can keep yourself, you know, and if a man wants you, he's pursuing you and all of that. He starts talking to you about marriage and sex and going to the next level. You know, both of y'all bring some paperwork to the table. Everybody want to know, well, what you bring to the table? Paperwork from the doctor. That's what you need to bring to the table. Everybody worrying about how much you make. What's your credit score? What's your credit score? No, let me see your stats. That's what you let me see. Let me see your stats. Let me see your 12 panel stats. That's what I want to see. All 12 panels. That's what I need to see. You know, and for those of you have not been sexually active for a while, still get tested. You don't know if there's something lingering over there, lingering from Johnny Mae, lingering from Billy Bob, Susan, whoever. Still get tested. I'm a very big, you know, I'm very big on being tested. I don't care if you ain't had sex since Moses parted the Red Sea. Still get tested. If you were married before, now you're single. If you've been in a relationship and you had sex with anybody, I advise anybody to go get tested. When you get ready to get into a new relationship, or when you get ready to start dating again, you might not even have any intentions of having sex until you get married again. I don't care. Go get tested. Get tested, get tested, get tested. Know your status. Know your status. Before you start talking about what you're going to bring to the table, no, you bring me some paperwork, because without that, we don't need to know what's on the table, because I'm not going to be on the table. You get it? Okay, good. All right. So let's look at a quick clip about this guy. He gives women a little insight on how to answer that question when men ask, how many partners have you had? It's a little funny at the end. It's a little funny at the end. So here we go.
Hello, people. Today we're going to be dealing with the age-old question. How many people have you slept with? Of course, we all know there is a double standard when it comes to men and women in this way. It's okay for many men in their own minds to be horrified by a woman saying that she slept with X number of people, but for a woman she's supposed to almost expect it from a guy. There is a double standard there that unfortunately we still live with in many cases. Ladies, what do you say? I get this question from a few honest ladies. They ask me, should I lie or tell the truth? What should I say? Here's what I would say. All right, I'm going to be a woman for a moment, Jameson. Jameson is asking me and Jameson are dating. All right? And Jameson says one night, honey, wait, don't laugh. I'm trying to do this. Honey, how many people have you slept with? I'm going to say something along the lines of, look, does it really even matter? That's our past. You have a past. I have a past. If I tell you, I feel like it makes you jealous, you know, and honestly, Jameson, if you tell me, it's going to make me jealous. That's something that I don't feel we need to talk about between us. Let's just us be us. We're in the present right now. Let's enjoy each other instead of focusing on all that stuff. Now, if he keeps prying and prying and prying, okay, give him the answer. By the way, I don't even know why people know the exact number. I think I stopped counting at 2 people. It's became irrelevant to me at that point. Why even? I don't know. When people go 7, it always feels weird to me that's a number they have immediately in their head. I think you say it doesn't matter, and truthfully, I've never even thought about it that way. Who cares? You can't wear it as baggage, because as soon as you treat it as baggage, he's gonna treat it as baggage. He's gonna build it up as something bigger than it is. So my default would be to avoid the question altogether. Even, by the way, even if the answer is 4 or 5 to you, I would find it unattractive for a guy to ask that question if I were you as a woman. I would find that unattractive. So if he said that to me, I would say to him, do we really need to do this? I hate this question so much. Not because it's a bad answer, but because it's an ugly question. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand me. I'm not saying with this that you have to get upset or aggressive or emotional when he asks the question, because of course, if you do that, then his imagination really goes wild, because he thinks, well, what's she hiding if she's getting so uptight about this? You're not uptight about it. It bores you. It's an ugly, unattractive question that doesn't need to be answered. It's boring. That's it. I want you to come from a loving place when you do this, because you're not trying to be mean. You're just trying to show him that you're ready to move on from the past instead of indulging in it. I mean, look, who the hell wants to know the specifics of your sexual history? Who wants to know? Do you want to start asking what positions I've been in before? Here's the thing, guys are masochists in this area. We ask the questions we don't want to know the answers to. Do not be led into it. Don't take the bait. As Adam Carolla said back on Loveline, less history, more mystery. So let's go for the mystery, and you're going to be loving about it. You're not going to be aggressive or mean. You're just guiding him past his own pain, which he is headed straight for right now. Just take him away from it. You know what? I know you want to go over there, but come with me over here, because guess what? You're hot and you're sexy. I want to jump you, and I don't care about any other man I've ever been with right now. I care about you. I just want to think about you. And please, can we just go and have sex? That's it. I'll see you next week. Bye. How many people you've slept with, I don't need to know that, and you shouldn't need to know it about me. You know, we'll ask it. Doesn't mean we want to know this fly. Seriously. What is your number? How many people have you slept with? Is it a lot? Am I gonna get an itch on my crotch now?
That last part was funny. How many people have you slept with? Am I gonna get an itch in my crotch? That was funny. But listen, men can't handle those answers. They ask the questions, but they may not be able to handle the answer. So I think it's just probably the best thing to do is stay away from those kind of questions if you're serious about a person. To me, the main question should be, can you produce a test? I think the main question should be, can you produce paperwork? When was the last time you got tested? I think that's more important than how many people have you slept with, because it doesn't matter how many people you slept with. What matters is if you slept with anybody and you've been exposed to any kind of STDs or, any other types of diseases that might be able to be transmissible from one person to another. These are the kind of questions you want to ask. Those questions alone may be considered a little too invasive. However, if we're talking about, if we're going from dating to courting, and courting we're going to lead to marriage, then we're going to put all this on the table. Excuse me. These are the questions that we need to be serious about. If we're not talking about moving to the next level, we don't even need to be talking about sex, period. You don't need to be talking about sex with somebody you're not going to be serious about. Now, men may have a different perspective on that, but I'm just saying, if you don't see yourself with this person, don't be so easy, men or women. Don't be so easy to just sex with anybody, because let me tell you something. And I know a lot of times women think men don't get emotionally attached to women that they have sex with. We just think they can just go from woman to woman to woman to woman. And sometimes that might be true, but it's not always the truth. You can't lump all men into that boat, because there are some men that actually have a heart and think about these kind of things, and some men do get emotionally attached or what have you, because some men, they do have a moral compass, and sex is just more than sex to them, so you can't just put all men in this little bowl together. I want to show you one more clip, and then I'm going to be done. We're going to come back and do part 2 later on, because I have a lot more to talk about. But I want to show you this last video, and I meant to show it to you when we were talking about the forgiveness and cheating and infidelity. I meant to show you this clip then, but men and women, again, we think differently on so many things. My hope is that I'm not trying to change the way we think, but I'm trying to find a middle ground to where we can at least, come to some common ground to where we can start talking to each other, so that we're not the least married group of people in the United States. Right now, Black women are the least married group of women in the United States. And we need to change that. It's not because there are no good Black women. It's not because there are no good Black men. It's just because we have a huge gap in communication, and no one wants to sit us down and say, hey, listen, This just not working. This I am woman, hear me roar syndrome, that's not working. This, well, what you bringing to the table, all that's not working. None of that is working for us. If it was working, then our stats and our numbers would not be as high as they are. You know, all these single women, let's say if you got, I was reading some stats and it says is 600,000 women. If there were 1 million people in a room, 600,000 of them would be women, and the other 400,000 would be men. That's so unequal. So clearly, that's not going to be enough men for the ratio of women. It's just not going to be enough. And so we have to find a way, men and women, to bridge this gap. We have to find a way to make us not the least married people in America. We have to find a way to get our stats lowered. And the only way we're going to do that is by having these hard conversations and by coming to some middle ground to say, hey, you know, men got to say, hey, women, let us hear you. And women got to say, hey, let us hear you. The problem is, and I'm going to say this, and women, y'all not going to like this. The problem is when we talk, men tend to listen. But when they talk to us, we tend not to listen. We tend not to listen because they're not saying it the way we think they should say it. They don't use the wording that we would use. So we automatically, you know, we're going to rebuke, you know, we butt what they're saying. We're going to challenge what they're saying because they don't say it the way that we want them to say it. Or it challenges our ego to say, well, yeah, we know we are, but what are you? You know, we have to always go there with, instead of just listening. Let's listen, and if we can, make the necessary adjustments so that when he talks again, he doesn't have to talk to us about the same thing over and over and over. And I know you guys might be saying, you know, well, you always seem to be on the men's side. No, I'm on the side of right. I'm on the side of making things better. And like I said earlier, because we are women, we can control the energy. We control the atmosphere. We can control the conversation. We can control the temperature in the home. We can control all of that without interfering with the man's authority and his leadership, his headship. We can control all of that by what we say, by our body language, our attitude, how we treat, how we entreat, how we receive information from him. If he comes home and he says, well, I just really had a bad day. Why does it have to be a competition for you to tell him how bad your day was? Why can't you just let him tell you how his day was? Why? It won't take nothing from you. Wait till another time. Wait until he's finished. And then you let him know, wow, babe, I thought I had a bad day, but I really, you know, here's what happened to me. But now that I've listened to you, you know, I really, you know, is there anything you need me to do for you? What can I do to make you better? You know, it's always a way to do something. It's always a better way. I don't care what you say, how you say it, ladies. It's always a better way. It's always a better way. I'm going to say it again. There's always a better way. Always a better way. All right. So I'm going to show you this last clip and then I'm going to get out your hair so you can enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening. And I can do the same with my family. So this last clip is Steve Harvey. You guys know he wrote the book, Think Like a Man, Act Like a Woman, all of that. I have those books. I skim through them sometimes. But he's talking about, they asked a question about, they were talking about cheating and infidelity and all of that. So that's the last clip I'm going to play. After that clip, I'm going to come back and before I play that clip, I want to show you a commercial of my Patreon page that we're still working on getting everything together for that. Patreon is simply, it's a paid subscription. Patreon is a paid subscription that lets us go behind the curtain and discuss some things that we don't necessarily discuss here on the open air. So I'm going to play the quick commercial. You write down the information to that, and then you can run over to patreon.com, look for Live Talk with Benita Bradley, and join. You can join there. let me go here. All right, and after I play that, I'm going to go right into the Steve Harvey clip, and then I'm going to come back and say goodbye to everybody. All right? All right, here we go.
Entertaining, provocative, and always uncensored.
Behind the Curtain with Benita Bradley.
It's a relationship issue that has been all over the headlines, men and infidelity. It's a nice way of saying why do men cheat. GMA special contributor Steve Harvey is here this morning with answers. We're going to talk to the author of the best-selling relationship book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, about this hot topic in just a moment. But first, we spoke with men and women all across the country who weighed in on this hot issue.
I think men cheat because they can.
Why do men cheat? Because they're probably not happy with the relationship they're in.
I think it's in men's DNA to have more sexual activity.
They're lonely, they're pigs, you know, from scratch.
I think if women cheat, they're a cougar or they're loose. And if a man cheats, it's like, go get him, guy.
Guys let's cheat, it's just for sex. It's not a, it may not be an emotional attachment, but with women, there's definitely an emotional element to that.
I think that's just an excuse for, you know, to say that, oh, all men cheat, but they don't. That's just giving someone an excuse.
I think it's expected. Not expected, but allowed. If men cheat, well,
It's
not
allowed?
by me.
Okay. Yeah. Paul was like, hey, really?
Jackpot.
Yeah, GMA special contributor Steve Harvey is here. Hi, Steve.
Good. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. You know, you said when you're out holding your seminars that this is one of the top question that you get.
I mean, without a doubt, it's the number one question asked, you know, and it's a big question because it causes a lot of pain in relationships because it violates the trust. And it's so hard to get it back once you've done it, you know.
Yes.
So it's probably the most painful thing out there.
All right. Well, let's get to some of the questions that we've had. Again, we talked to people all across the country. And this is a question. It's from Kathleen. And we heard this over and over and over again. Kathleen.
Question for you, Steve Harvey. How would I know if my boyfriend or husband is cheating? What are the signs?
Well, if his cell phone rings and he's in the shower and he runs through the glass door to answer,
that's one sign, okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And if he sleeps with his cell phone duct taped to his thigh, that's a good way to tell. But I think really the more serious answers become, you know, if there's an attitude change. You know, if your man doesn't care anymore about the intimacy, whether you're having it with him or not, if it doesn't make a difference to him, if he's indifferent to it, that attitude adjustment is serious. And then the big one is if his intimate performance with you has changed, if all of a sudden you're seeing new moves and
new tricks,
brand new tricks, you know, this is, guys, our imagination ain't that good. We have got to go practice these things. We can't just bring them in there, you know, we gotta.
So all practical signs that we should look
absolutely.
for. All right, let's get to another question, and this is a question that some men in relationships say they struggle with.
So, hey, Steve, if somebody's flirting with me, how should I handle that?
It's it's not my fault. Is that what it is?
Well, he's lucky if that's happening. But anyway, if somebody's flirting with you, I mean, you got to be careful, because flirting pushes the primal instinct button in men, because by nature, we're predators. And so if you show that little twitch flex reaction, that little dangle the carrot, and we immediately go for it. It's a very dangerous thing to flirt, because at what point does it stop? Because if you keep the flirting up, eventually it's going to lead to something, And the best way to do it is just, laugh it off and go, girl, you crazy, and and go home.
And just move on.
Yeah, because if you do it, you're not going to win. Yeah.
Got another question. This is Christine from San Francisco.
Hey, Steve, I have a question. If I suspect my fiance of cheating, is it okay if I check his emails and phone records?
Oh, I don't really like that one personally. I don't think it's cool. Right. I think you should respect a person's privacy, And then there's an old saying, that if you go looking for trouble, you're going to find it. Here's the deal. If your guy is cheating, you're going to find out. You don't have to go looking for it. You always find out. Now, if he's cheating. But if you're wondering if he's cheating, because in light of everything that's going on today, everybody knows, I wonder if my guy, well, if you're wondering and you go looking, you're going to find something. It could be an innocent email. It could be on the phone number that's attached to business. But if you've stuck it in your mind, wow, he's cheating too, and you see this stuff, it could turn into something else. I know a lot of relationships that are shot now, gone, because someone suspected and went looking and found something innocent, and it turned into something that it really wasn't.
They're saying now text messages and all that's lipstick on the collar from back in the day.
Yeah, I don't recommend text messaging. I quit text messaging. All my notes is by carrier pigeon. I don't even.
Bobby, let's cut out the middle. Yeah, Bobby is 62, married, and she wants to know this about cheating.
Why are all these men that are in power think they can get away with it?
It's not just men of power. Cheating is not reserved to men of power. It happens to the truck driver, the cab driver, the janitor. It can happen to anybody. It happens to women. Men of power just have more opportunities. Women fail to look at this thing sometimes. A guy... There are trophy men just like they're trophy women. They're just like women that men want to conquer. Right. There are men that women want to conquer. A guy walks in the room, has himself established fame-wise, money-wise. There's women over there eyeballing this guy. He may not even be aware of it. That's why the athletic bus pulls up at the hotel. What's it filled with? A lobby full of groupies. Because guess what? They want the trophy guy. They don't care if he's married or not. So for the famous guy, the powerful guy, it's just tougher. It's more opportunities presented. The best thing is to go, I just want to go home. I just got to get through the minefield.
To get there.
To get there.
But it's not just men. Not just men, and you'll see. Women do it too. Another question.
Steve, what can I do to prevent my wife from cheating?
Wow. You very rarely get that question,
But it happens. People don't talk about it, but it does happen.
It happens a lot more than people discuss. Because on my radio show, I get these letters all the time from women who have these great guys that are providers, do everything he's supposed to do, but yet and still, she wants something else. But it's rare, because most women, if you're attentive to them, if you are a provider for them, if you're communicating with them, if you're loving to them, if you're giving them the things that most women want, most women will stay put. The average woman is really decent. She'll stay put because she's gone out. She asks what she wants. Most women will stay put in that situation. So when a guy goes, how do I keep my wife from cheating? This is a guy, I can assure you, is not taking care of his business at home.
Well, those are the questions we have. But there was one other one that came by email, and it's one that we were talking about a lot in the studio. And I can just hear our mama saying this: once a cheater, always a cheater. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Is that the case? Because let's come clean here now. You have spoken about how you've made some mistakes in your past. You've learned from those mistakes. So some of this, are you speaking from experience?
Well, Okay, on national TV. You know, I'm on my third marriage. I've made some mistakes in my life. You know, you get married, you're on third marriage, and I'm very happy now. But yeah, I've made those mistakes. You know, but people have to know, once a cheater, always a cheater. That's not a true statement. People grow. People get better. People learn from their mistakes. People move on. People discover what went wrong before and learn how not to make those mistakes again. And that's a very myth that women have passed down throughout the years, that once a cheater, always a cheater. And you've lost some great relationships because women bring that baggage to the next relationship, and it kills something that could be really good. So I'm very happy now, and I go home. So let's put that on TV, please.
Yes, Les, with Marjorie.
Yes,
she's a good sport.
Thank you, God.
Steve, thank you. Thank you so much for your straight talk. And do you have a question for our man, Steve? Ask him on our website, abcnews.com, and read an.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed those clips I had for you today. And I hope you have enjoyed this show thus far. We're going to come back with part 2 because, again, I have so much more to talk to you about the double standards and why men and women are different, and why does it seem like the double standard is there in place. A lot of times I think there are double standards. And then, too, I do want to give room to the fact that men and women just think differently. So, yeah, a lot of stuff can come off as double standard. But the truth of the matter is it's not really a double standard. It has a lot to do with the way men and women think, the way men and women process. We're really different. And again, women, you cannot want a man to think like you. He's not going to be emotional. He's not going to think like you think. He's not going to give you all the answers that you would give him. And so when he does answer questions, let that be his answer. We, as women, what we tend to do, we tend to say, well, no, you should have said it this way. Well, that's not the way he thinks. Men don't think like us. They're not going to. Men like straight answers. If we ask a man, what do you want for dinner? Oh, chicken. He asks us, what do you want for dinner? Well, I don't know right now. I don't want chicken because I had chicken yesterday. I really want fish because, I'm trying to lose 5 pounds. Maybe a salad. Well, that's just the way we do things. And by then he's like, woman, just make a decision. I'm hungry, and it's just the way we process, you can't expect for him to just be like, well, this, that. And when he asks you a question, if it's yes or no, he wants yes or no, but we'll give him a whole essay before we actually answer the question. Some men, that aggravates them because they don't understand. That's just how a woman processes her information, and she processes her thought before we just say something. Men, they just yes, no, maybe so. They just want to. They got a question. They want an answer. We're more expressional. Men are more analytical. We're more expressional, because a man he's analyzing the situation. Okay, so if she wants chicken, I already know where we're going to go. If she wants fish, I know where we can go. If she just wants a salad, I know a place where I got a nice salad bar. He's already analyzed all of your answers. We are more expressional and emotional in everything we do, unless you just full of masculine energy, then as a woman, you're going to be full of emotions and femininity and, expressionalism. You're going to be full with all of that. And there's nowhere around it because that's the way we were made. You got a problem, like a friend of mine say, text the creator and get with him about how he made men and women differently. Okay. And I know we're on this thing where we're equal and all of that and all of this, and that's your belief. That's your belief. I'm not here to challenge what you believe. I am here to challenge how we deal with one another, so much so to the fact that as Black people, we're just not getting married. We're not staying in relationships long enough to lead to marriage. We're having sex, we're making babies, and then we're making one-parent homes, and it's just not a good look for us, okay? And so my hope through these programs and this particular platform is that we build a bridge between Black men and Black women where we start to come back together. And if we come back together, we start to bring the family back together. We bring the family back together. We bring the community back together. We bring the community back together. We can bring the church back together, and we can bring the churches back together. And then everybody can start to come back together. Well, we are now made whole. We're no longer the least married people in America. Black people right now are the least married, especially Black women. We are the least married group of people in the entire United States of America. You know, we have the stats, we give them to you all the time. I hope you're listening. I hope you're paying attention. But most of all, I hope everything that I'm doing and saying is helping to move you along to become a better you, so that you can become a better mate, or whatever your case may be. And I know some women say, well, I don't really want a man. I don't need, you know, okay, that's your deal. That's good. You know, I'm not here to change your mind on that. Whether you are in a traditional relationship, whether you're in same-sex relationship, whatever you're in, be the best you can be in that relationship. You all don't need to call me about that statement, because I'm going to stand by what I just said. Whether you're in a traditional relationship or same-sex relationship, be the best that you can be in that relationship. Be the most understanding you can be. Develop your communication skills. So you're not always bickering and arguing all the time. Be the best you. Work on you. If we stop trying to work on each other and turn that attention inwardly and work on us, make sure we're communicating correctly, making sure we're hearing correctly, making sure our thought processes are correct. And then we can try to mash the two people together, and then we can make a more cohesive unit, instead of you trying to fix me, I'm trying to fix you, everybody trying to fix everybody, and everybody's left out of order, because nobody wants to take a look in the mirror and fix themselves, you know. And so one of the things I hope my platform does for you is help you focus on fixing self, taking introspection, you know, taking time out, look at the man in the mirror. We can no longer just point fingers at one another. Oh, I said that because you made me mad. Oh, I did that because you did this. No, you did that because that's what was in you. You know, and so we need to start taking responsibility. Yeah, men and women are different, but we don't have to be so different till it keeps us apart. Okay, we don't have to relish so much in the double standards until it keeps us apart. There has to be some way to bring us back together, so again, that we're no longer the least married people in the United States of America. Okay, again, I hope I've said something to you that has helped you, or that will help you. We're going to come back and do a part 2, because again, I have a lot more to talk to you about, but I don't want to get into all of it this evening. Just for the sake of time, but we may be out of time, but we're never out of content. Let's just keep that in mind, okay? And so thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys next time. Instagram, I've already let them go. They've been great. All of you guys on YouTube, you've been marvelous. All 3 streaming, Facebook, you guys have been marvelous. Periscope, Twitter, you have been incredible. I thank you all so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, contact me, inbox me, instant message me, email me. All of my information has been floating around on the bottom of the screen there. You can see all of the information, my website, my email is there. If you'd like to support this show, here's the information for you to support the show. It does cost us to be on so many streaming platforms at one time. So if you like to support the show and keep us on all of our streaming platforms, there's information that you can support the show. Any amount will help us to stay on the air and help us to stay streaming to all of these platforms and help keep bringing you good content. All right. And so until next time, I do want you guys to enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you next time. Thank you again for watching Live Talk with Benita Bradley. Bye-bye.